This podcast is intended for adults 18 years and older. It contains explicit language and sexual situations. All thoughts and opinions expressed are of our own and not of those of any specific group, employer, or individual, and is not intended to take as professional advice.
Welcome to the Foreplay Podcast. Join the journey, experiences, and sexual adventures of two high school sweethearts navigating through the swinging lifestyle as millennials. Come along for the ride. Dare to play?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Foreplay Podcast. I'm Bella.
This is Jase.
Today's episode is all about our experience and review of Bliss Cruise November 2025.
This sailing was on the Celebrity Reflection, and this will be an open and honest review about our experience and time on this ship and on this sailing.
And before we jump into the actual review, if you guys are wanting to go on a Bliss Cruise or really any lifestyle cruise in the future, if you guys want to come with a group, you can come with us. You can go to foreplay.com/cruise to get more information. It's completely free to you to book through our links, but it helps us out a lot, helps us be able to continue to make content like this, educate and help people on their lifestyle journey. Also, when you're part of the Foreplay group, we have some ways to connect before you get on the cruise. We have a meetup as well as a group dinner on the actual cruise. We got some fun, free little swag, as well as give you an insider guide just to kind of learn about what to expect before your lifestyle cruise. So if you guys are want to be part of a group, we'd absolutely love to have you as part of our group. So once again, foreplay.com/cruise, you get all that information.
And if you do end up booking with us and you don't see Foreplay listed on your email confirmation, just send us an email at hello@foreplay.com, and that's the number 4OURPLAY.com, so we can get that registered correctly for you. If we aren't listed on there, you won't be part of our group and you won't be able to be a part of all the things that we have planned. So we just want to make sure that if you do want to book with us, that it is on there correctly. Now let's go ahead and hop into the review. First things first, we know we say this all the time, but if you do want to go on a Bliss Cruise, and this is for any future sailing, we do highly recommend for you to book earlier than later. There's always a chance that it can sell out. February 2026 is already sold out. April 2026 is almost sold out. Currently, when we're recording this, it's December 2026. Whenever it was on Wonder of the Seas back in 2024, it sold out 12 months before. And they're also doing Wonder of the Seas in November 2026 and November 2027. So we do recommend to book earlier than later, just so you can make sure that you get a cabin.
Also, if you guys did not know, Bliss changed ownership early in the year, and they were able to make some changes for Bliss April, but there was a ton of changes for this Bliss November, so we're really excited to kind of talk about all things that have actually changed on Bliss and how much we truly love all of those changes.
The length of this sailing was 7 nights. Usually the ones in the fall in November are usually the longer ones, so it's usually 6 to 7 nights versus 5 to 6 nights. We love whenever it's 7 nights. I think with the extra time, it gives you more time to be able to kind of shift that mindset from normal day-to-day vanilla life into vacation mode. And typically it takes, even for us we've been on these cruises many times, it takes like 2 to 3 days to really get into that full lifestyle vacation mode. And just having those extra days just helps you have more time to acclimate and make those even better connections.
Like we said earlier, this was on the Celebrity Reflection. Is around 3,000 people on here, which is a good size ship.
For a November sailing, this one I would say was on the smaller side. Typically it's like 3,500 up to like Wonder of the Seas or Symphony of the Seas, which is up to 6,500, like 6,000 people. So this definitely was smaller for it being a fall sailing. When it comes to demographic, it is the typical lifestyle demographic, usually about, I'd say 43 to 55 is the main demographic. And then, I know we always say this too, but it's a bell curve after that. So then you are going to have people who are older than that, and there is going to be people who are younger than that. We have found that the demographic under 42 keeps getting bigger. So even whenever we're going on there, there is a large group of people who are in that younger demographic. 20s is the youngest demographic. There's usually not that many people in their 20s, but now we're seeing a lot more in their like later 20s into 30s. And then of course the main demographic is the 43 to 55 area. Bliss Cruise is also couples or thruples only. So you cannot go as a single person. You do have to be in a couple or a thruple to attend Bliss Cruise.
So next thing we want to talk about, which is one of the biggest changes, is the Bliss Cruise app. This has totally like revolutionized Bliss, in my opinion. It's made such...
Or really any lifestyle vacation, especially when it's on a cruise.
It makes such a big difference. So they have developed a full app, and it's almost like you have a dating profile on there. You can use it without paying for the ship Wi-Fi, so it's just included. You're able to use it. You're able to connect with other people. You're able to make a profile, send messages. The messaging actually works really well. You actually get notifications, which was a problem in the past. And it's just a really awesome way to see what's going on in the schedule, make those connections, talk to people, and it makes a massive difference in everyone being able to use it. is a huge game changer for me, and it's truly one of my favorite changes that they've ever made on a Bliss Cruise.
And you can make your profile before you get on the cruise, or you can make it when you're on the cruise, and you're able to see everyone else's profile as well, as long as they make it public. And it's really cool because you have your couple's profile is together, but your profile actually is separate. So whenever you are chatting as like yourselves, and you're not sharing a profile. And every time that you message a couple, it is couple to couple. So it creates a group chat with everyone who you message.
And we love that it actually puts everyone in those groups, just because it makes for honest and open communication. And you know that everyone in that couple, you and your partner and everyone else in that conversation, knows exactly what's being said, which just really promotes for a healthy communication between everybody.
And you can make group chats with more people. So not even just the couple that you matched with. We were part of this group where someone was hosting a yoga session get together on the lawn. And so he went in and he put in like a bunch of, there was like 20 people or something in there. So it's really awesome that they have all of those options, and connection and communication is like the biggest thing in the lifestyle. And so being able to have that, literally, it changes everything. In addition to being able to communicate with people, you can also see the entire Bliss schedule there. You're able to tap the events that you want to go to and adds it to your favorites. There's also a section that's called hot dates. And so people can almost do a listing. And so say a couple is looking for a specific type of couple to have a play date with at this specific time, you're able to put that on there, and then it goes on this page where everyone can kind of sift through there and then see what they're interested in, and then you can message that person. There's also filtering available on there, so you can filter by different interest, by hobbies, by ages. There's so many different ways for you guys to connect with other people on the ship, and it's amazing. It really is.
So now we're going to go over kind of how everything is organized, and also the parties that are going on in those areas. And so we will talk about all the events later on, but this section is going to be about how it's organized and the actual parties that go on in those areas as well. We'll start with playrooms because we know people are always the most interested in that. The playrooms were incredible this year. The biggest one was in the solarium, and that one had a dance and play, which is a new thing they started doing in April, which is a really awesome event where you're able to, at certain times, go in there and you are able to just party. They have music playing, they have a DJ, but there's also spicy stuff happening around you. All the bedrooms are available for you to use while there's a party. It's an awesome feature. This was also available to go in the solarium, just kind of relax in the daytime, use those beds. And that was, you could go in there, you could go as a single person, you could go as a couple, whereas at night it was couples only in these playrooms. But at night it was awesome. The lighting completely changed. It was a very spicy, sensual feeling lighting. And overall, that was one of my favorite playrooms. I just loved how big it was. There was a big pool in the middle, which was really, really cool. There was also a hot tub, so if you kind of wanted to get in there, you can move from there to a bed or to the pool, or really whatever you wanted to do. It was a really cool setup, and they did a great job organizing it. There was also a dungeon, which was indoors. This one, you could go, you could do scenes. They had a bunch of different things going on in there, but that was also an awesome area that if you're more into that BDSM type space, that the dungeon was there. There was a lot of different BDSM equipment. I said I'm not the most knowledgeable in that, but there was a lot of different areas, and there's a lot of people there that could kind of help you learn if that's what you're looking for as well. So the BDSM dungeon area was awesome. There was also an outdoor play area, and this was up on the basketball court. There were several beds up there, and so that was just kind of a nice option if you kind of wanted to be outside in that open air area. And then also a couple nights they had an outdoor area that was under the stars. So on this ship there was a really big grassy lawn area, and there was 2 or 3 nights that you went up there and there was like a Spice Under the Stars type event, and basically you could go and you could just go with a partner, group, whatever it was. You could bring towels and just kind of have an area to go out and have a spicy time, but outdoors, get that fresh breeze. It was really pretty just under the stars. And they also had some cabanas that you could rent as well if that's something else you were looking for. And then the last playroom, I said Bliss has a ton of playrooms. If you are a playroom person, it is awesome. So there was one more that was inside on the 4th floor in one of the conference rooms. They had turned this into a nice just indoor play area. They had a bunch of beds. There was some really big group beds. They had curtains there that were kind of sheer, so you could close it and make it a little bit more private if you're going for that feel, or leave them open so people could watch. They also had these curtain type things in the solarium playroom as well, but it was awesome because you had those group beds as well as the beds you could kind of make a little bit more private. Also, once again, they had very nice lighting there. And then this playroom that was indoor outdoors. This is where they had the classes, so they had your hands-on classes in here. In this playroom, they also had your specific playtime. So Bliss does this cool things, but they do kind of niche playtimes. And so maybe it's by couples only, for example. And during that specific time, it is going to be by couples only. So you could go in there and maybe you could meet like-minded people or go in there with your partner and just kind of see what's going on. But it's really cool because they have these niche play meetups. So that was the area that took place.
When it comes to security and amenities and all the playrooms, Bliss Cruise does not disappoint. They take safety and security very, very seriously. There's rules listed before you even step into the playrooms. There's rules inside of the playroom, a big board of rules. There's security that will change the sheets for you, and they're also distributing condoms and lube and other things like that. There's also towels just available for you to grab and get if you want to do that. There's water available. So there's a ton of amenities and different things, different rules in order for everyone to feel safe and comfortable in these playrooms.
It's also good to note, we also get this question asked a lot. Everyone that's working in these spicy areas is someone who is brought on by Bliss Cruise. It is not going to be people who just work for that cruise line. So for this example, celebrity, none of the people that work in these spicy areas are celebrity employees. Also, like the celebrity employees are told what kind of cruise this is. So all of those employees do not have to work out in the areas where they're a guest. They're able to work in other areas. And I said, it's just good to note that they are told what kind of cruise this is, and they are able to make a decision about how they want to work it. We always actually hear from the employees that they love working these cruises. The guests in general on these cruises are just happy, here to have a nice time, having fun. And so there's actually lots of people who request to come back on these and go on these ships so they can go on another Bliss Cruise. And so it's just good to note that it really is a great environment overall for the guest as well as the employees.
The dress code in the Solarian Playroom at night, whenever it was couples only, you had to either be in a robe, lingerie, or boxers. You could not go into the playroom with your street clothes. In some of the other playrooms, they did allow you to be in your normal clothes or your theme outfit. And when it comes to drinks, you could not bring your drinks into the playrooms. That makes sense. And then moving into the different party areas. So because Bliss has so many different options of things to do throughout the day and the night, sometimes it can be kind of hard to find the people that you were looking for, but then you can use the app, which is really good because then at least then you can communicate with people and be able to say, hey, let's meet at this place at this time. But if you're not already having people to talk to and you're like looking for people, sometimes it's hard to find just because there are so many options. Before the main party at night, which usually started at 10 p.m., there were a lot of pre-parties going on. There were some atrium areas where they had music playing, and that was like 8 to 10 o'clock or so. There's tons of different bars. There's live music everywhere. They had karaoke. They had so many different options before the main party. And then that's just like the nighttime. So in the daytime, there's even more than that. There's the seminars going on. We'll go more into that in a little bit. There are different meetups as well. So there's always a lot of things going on. But after the pre-parties and throughout the daytime activities, the main party started at 10 p.m. And this was either in the Sky Lounge area, which was the big club area, or it was outside at the pool deck. They only did that one time for Glow Night. Usually Glow Night is outside as long as the weather is permitted. And then around 11 o'clock to midnight, there were also other different music lounges, music clubs that you could go to. There was a country club and there was an EDM club. Those two venues changed every other day or so. So sometimes it was in this indoor, I wouldn't say atrium area, but it was like an indoor area that wasn't a specific club. And then there was another one that was out on the sunset deck. And so that was like at the back of the ship where it was all outside. And that was really fun. It was really cool to be able to have so many different music options to go to. And we found that we were never really bored with any of the music because you could choose so many different options.
We also noticed that it tended to go like whenever the Sky Lounge party would kind of start to die down, people would maybe go to that EDM party, maybe go to the country area, and that party kind of picked up there. And those areas were a little bit smaller. And so since they were smaller, but more people went, it still felt like a really good, busy party, even late into the night, which was really awesome. I think that completely changes the flow and feel of Bliss Cruise parties in general. We also really love the fact that that EDM party or that country party changed venue. So it wasn't like every single night the EDM party was outside the sunset, or every single time the country was inside. You kind of got to flip those venues, and so whatever kind of music you liked, everyone got to go and see those venues, and that was a really cool aspect as well.
During the day at the pool, there were 2 big pools, and then surrounding those were a few different hot tubs. This is where a majority of people hung out throughout the day. Also, there are little venues throughout the ship too. Like there was a place called the Hideaway. There was the library. Oh, that was really cool. There was like a section that it was just actually the library, but it was there for it to be quiet. So if you wanted a place that was not in your stateroom and not in a place where there was a lot of activity going on, you could go in there and relax and get some quiet time.
I said I wanted an area like that forever on a ship like this. And I feel like Bliss specifically really does a good job with feedback. We'll get to some other things that are also like this, but it does a really good job with feedback of listening to what the guests say that they liked or didn't like about a cruise and implementing that. And that was just one of the examples of how they kind of had changed some stuff to make those things even better and even more like what guests are looking for.
In addition to a lot of people being at the pool where there was the pool parties, a lot of people were also in the solarium as well. And that was whether there was a solarium pool party in there or not. Having that playroom open and available throughout the cruise was really, really cool. When it comes to the pool parties, there was also a foam dance and play party that was in the solarium area. And there were tons of different competitions and games that they were putting on as well. There was the iconic Bliss bikini contest. There was a twerking contest. There was lube wrestling. There was so many different things and so many little activities going on throughout the entire cruise. And a lot of those activities happened during the day at the pool parties. When it comes to sports amenity areas, this ship didn't have that many of those. There was the basketball court, but that was used as the play area. I don't think it was ever open just for playing basketball or like pickleball or anything like that this time around. There also wasn't a flow rider or rock climbing, anything like that. No slides on this ship. There was a place where you could play golf. It wasn't mini golf specifically. It was, I don't know anything about sports. What kind of golfing was it? It was just like an area.
It was like a net where you could just hit balls into the net.
Oh, yeah.
So like simulated driving range type area, which is cool. There's also some ping pong and things like that. But I will say that those areas aren't something that are used as often on these ships, and so it doesn't make as big of a difference. But I do love on the ships when they have maybe the mini golf or the slides or flow rider. I feel like those areas get used quite a bit. So good to note this ship did not have that, but it definitely did not take away from the party aspect at all. So next we'll jump into themes. They have a bunch of fun themes. They only do theme nights on Bliss. There is no theme days. I would say probably like 90 to 95% of people do participate in themes in some sense. And so, I mean, maybe it's a t-shirt that's on theme, or maybe it's, a full-on outfit. You can kind of do whatever you want. It's good to know you do not need to be on theme. You're not going to feel out of place if you are not on theme, but we love being on theme. It's kind of a conversation starter. It's just something fun to do. It's also an awesome thing to be able to do and kind of connect before you get on a cruise, is looking forward to those themes. And Bliss has some really fun ones. I am going to read them off my phone just so I do not get any of them incorrect. But we had a Studs and Bunnies, a Roaring Twenties Gatsby Formal Night, Naughty Fairy Tales, Glow Night, Rockstar, Fetish Night, and a Cops and Convicts Night. I feel like this is a good selection of different themes. You have your classic ones that I feel like we would be sad if they didn't have, which is like Glow and Fetish Night, and you just have some other fun ones that are a little bit different, a little bit unique, something that you do see more common, and so it's just a good mix of themes to me.
They also always do the very last day's theme, a pretty easy and simple one, which we always appreciate. One time they did anything but close night on the very last night, and that was the last time I think that they've ever done a theme that took a lot of effort on the very last night. Moving into food, Celebrity Ships always has, I personally think, really incredible food. We always recommend that if you're looking for specific food reviews for specific ships, to either read some blog posts or watch YouTube videos of reviews specifically of that ship, like vanilla reviews of that ship. That way you're able to probably see a walkthrough. People will do like a whole walkthrough of different cruise ships foods and all of those. But the buffet food was really good in our opinion. They always changed it out. There was different themes every single day during the daytime and at nighttime in the buffet area. And the main dining we always saw also was really good. They also had specialty dining areas. We love getting the sushi on there. There's also steak restaurants that you could go to. They did have Bliss specific specialty dining during this cruise as well, and they usually do for all the other ones. This one, they did have a Gatsby formal dinner that you could purchase, and these are things that you would purchase before you get on the ship. Usually it sells out by the time that you're on the ship, and you'll get information on that through emails. They also had a fetish dinner that you could also get, and these were at a specialty dining restaurant, and they decorated the entire area to match that theme. So the fetish dinner was really cool. It had nice red lighting, all of these different like decor items. They had a scene going on throughout the night, and this is on the night of that specific theme night. So you're going to dinner like dressed in your fetish theme outfit, or you're going to dinner dressed in that Gatsby formal outfit. And so it's really cool that they have those options. On this sailing, the prices were about $50 to $75 a person. It could change in the future depending on whatever theme it is, but for this specific sailing, it was that price.
There was also late night food, which is a late night buffet that is always awesome to have. They had lots of things like pizza. They had different just sorts of like stuff out every single night that you could get, where maybe it was a pasta or things like that. We didn't see as many like chicken nuggets and french fries, which I feel like is kind of a classic thing at that late at night. We did not see that, which I wish they did have. They also had a lot of healthy options though, which is really awesome. So they had, they had sandwiches, but they also had a salad bar or sorts of different, just like salads in general, which was nice to kind of have that many options. They also had lots of fruit. So if you're looking for that, they also have the milk and cookies, which they bring out, which is one of the companies will bring out some milk and cookies at like 2 a.m., which is really fun. I will say, I believe it was 3 a.m. when the late night food ended. I've seen it end at 4 a.m. before. Personally, we're a bigger preference of when it ends at 4 a.m. just because sometimes when those play nights kind of run late, it's 2:30, 3:30 whenever they finish up. And like one night we went up after a late night and it was right as everything was closing down. And I think it was like 3:15 in the morning. I said, it's not a big deal, but I do love when it's like 4 a.m. because I feel like most of the time, most things are done by then. But overall, they did have a lot of food options and it's really great that late at night that you can get some food.
So a tip for that is if you have a feeling that you might be having a really late night, to grab some food and then just like keep it in your room just for like that night. I wouldn't like leave it over for a while, but they have little coolers in the room. So if we could have got some pizza before and just like come in, wrapped it up and then left it in the refrigerator, that would have really come in clutch. We've done that before on other cruises and we did not take our advice this time. Because usually it's not that late that we go out. This time it was a very late night.
It's also good to know that you can order room service. There is a fee for that. It's also, sometimes it comes very, very quick. I've heard sometimes it's a little bit slower. So if it's 4 a.m., do you want to wait? That's totally up to you. But it is good to note that there is room service if that's what you're looking for. And that room service is 24 hours a day. And the last thing to note food-wise is drinks. And so the drink package is something that is not included on Bliss Cruise. You can just buy drinks individually if that's what you're looking for. But if you want the drink package, it's also good to note that you have to do it per cabin. So let's say that we wanted the drink package and one person doesn't drink as much. I can't buy a drink package and then Bella does not get one. So it's just good to note that that price is for everyone in that cabin and you can't just do an individual drink package for one person. There's other different drink packages as well. Like you could buy a soda drink package. There was a Starbucks on board, so you could have a Starbucks drink package. You could also buy those things individually as well. So that's just kind of however you want to handle it, but that's just a good thing to note about drinks in general.
When it comes to drinks that are included, water is included, but not water bottles. So you could always order cups of water whenever you're at dinner. There is also water stations throughout the ship as well, especially in the buffet area. In the buffet area, there's also coffee that was available. You could get tea. They also had juices, and that changed every day. As sometimes they had orange juice, sometimes they had like an orange guava juice. They had that like every night because I remember drinking that almost every single night. So they have different juices like that, and they are sugar free. And so there are options for if you don't want to get a drink package, you don't have to. It's more if you're wanting specific drinks, alcoholic drinks or sodas. Accommodations wise, we loved this ship's accommodations. The rooms were really nice. The decor of everything was really classy, really nice. So no complaints there. Of course, it's also a cruise ship, so everything is being cleaned all the time. Everything is like neat and tidy, and I feel like I never saw anything dirty ever on a celebrity ship, and this one is no different. We had a balcony cabin on this cruise. We typically don't get balcony cabins. This one we did because we actually booked too late. And so the balconies were the only ones that were available. We loved our room. There was a lot of space. There was a little section that was almost like a couch section that actually pulled out into a bed too if you wanted. We did that one night.
Yeah.
We did pull out the bed because we had people over. And then the bathroom was really nice. It was one of those showers that actually was encapsulated, like it was completely closed. And so it wasn't just a shower curtain. There was a lot of storage areas. Nothing bad to say about the accommodations.
So next we're going to go into activities. There is, like Bella said earlier, there is so many activities on Bliss Cruise. One thing that we wish they had, which we understand they cannot do it every single time, I wish there was an island takeover. So on some of the Blisses, they will have where we are the only ship at one of the islands and we are able to go there. You're able to usually be topless on the island like that. Kind of have some parties there. It's generally really fun when they're able to do that. This sailing, they did not because there was none of the islands that we were alone at. Now I know, for example, in Bliss April, there's at least 2 different island takeovers, which is such a fun thing. Like I said, it doesn't work out every sailing because you can't always have an island to yourself those days, or a port, really, not a whole island, but a port to yourselves. So this one, we did not have that, but the ports themselves are really awesome, really fun ports. Just no specific ports that had like a Bliss takeover.
There are also a ton of different meet and greets. I'm going to read off some of them here. This is only some of them. There are a lot of different ones throughout the day and throughout the cruise, and some of them are repeated as well. So if you don't make it to one and you want to go to another one that's the same one, they do repeat them sometimes. But for example, there are under 45, over 45, hall pass, silver and sexy, first timers, full swap, soft swap, bi meetups, ladies only, and there are a lot of other niche play styles and niche demographic meetups as well.
One thing to note about the meetups is they can be hit and miss at times, right? So you may go and meet a ton of really amazing connections and just find a ton of people. Sometimes they're really busy, sometimes they're less busy. So it's just good to note that they are a fun way to go meet some people, make some connections, but sometimes you're really going to make a lot of connections, sometimes less. So just good to note, but it's awesome they have so many and so many different niches to really be able to find even more like-minded friends.
We have our own meetup for our bookings that we do every cruise. We typically try to do it on day 2, so it's like towards the beginning of the cruise, but not the very first day. And at ours, we play different games, and we play an icebreaker game, and so that one's really fun, and we love hosting, but not all of them are hosted like that. So they're more just open so people can go, and it's like this specific grouping of people who like a specific thing, and then you're open to kind of talk to everybody. There are also so many seminars and workshops. Like I said, it's like jam-packed throughout the day. Sometimes we'll be wanting to hang out with a couple, or we'll be like, where were you guys? Because we go to a lot of the parties. We're usually at the pool parties. We usually like to relax. We're not doing mini seminars. We'll be looking for our friends and be like, where were you guys at? And they were like, oh, we were at this seminar, we were at this workshop, or we have this workshop coming up. And so they are very, very popular. And there are free seminars as well as paid seminars. Some of the free seminars are, and again, I'm not going to list all of them. This is just an example of some of them. Lifestyle for newbies, setting boundaries, agreements, and rules in the lifestyle, navigating the Bliss Cruise, what is the lifestyle, how to approach, connect, and play. And a lot of those ones were hosted on day 1. So you're able, if you're like completely new to Bliss Cruise or the lifestyle in general, you're able to learn about all of those things at the very beginning of your cruise and take everything that you've learned throughout the rest of the cruise. But they also repeated some of those throughout the cruise as well. So it's not like if you missed it, you could never do it again. Some of them or only done once, but you're able to see this entire schedule before you even get on the cruise, so you're able to plan your day out. Other examples are low desire and no desire, where do we go from here after the cruise, rope fashion techniques, and there was classes about rejection and jealousy, and also how to meet people. And the ones that were paid are very, very hands-on, and they are workshops. Like these are ones that were in that conference playroom that we were talking about earlier. So for example, with some of those, there was blind lust, and that was like, you got a blindfold, not like you go in like completely blind, you know what I mean? You're not getting blindsided. You are going in there for blind play. Guided rope suspension, naked speed dating, hosted play party experiences, and partner swapping is not required. Spanking classes, oral pleasure mastery, sensual massage, backdoor basics, squirting, prostate massage, harnessing the power of strap-on play, women's guide to erotic dominance, and many, many more. So as you can tell, those are, and I had to censor some of those for the YouTube platform. So they're not always just called that. There's other ones that we can't even talk about on here. And you did have to book these classes beforehand. You can do it before you get on the cruise, or if it's still available, you can do it when you're on the cruise. And they range from about 100 to 200 per couple.
So we did talk about the kind of the parties earlier, but one thing I want to mention about the parties, which made a huge difference, is they had these pop-ups during the parties. And if you watched our Bliss April reviews, the pop-ups we did not love. And the pop-ups last time kind of interrupted the flow of the party and just kind of killed the vibe of the party overall. Once again, this is one of the things I feel like Bliss listens and changes. And this time they had some pop-ups that were awesome. So like on Glow Night, they had this drummer that was in this full like outfit with all these neon lights, and he came out and just kind of drummed in the middle of the dance section, but like people were able to move around and you were able to just see this kind of cool little performance. It lasted like 10 or 15 minutes, but it didn't.
I don't think it was that long. It was like a really good amount of time. Like he came out like maybe for like 5 to 10 minutes, and then he left, and then he came back like a couple more times like throughout. But it was very seamlessly done. Whereas last time it was like trying to clear the dance floor, and then we're like, what is going on? And so it was really well done.
Yeah, they also had one where, like, on fetish night, there was somebody suspended. And so they had these cool little pop ups that kind of went with the theme of the night. But once again, they did not interrupt the flow of the party, which was a huge, massive difference. And I feel like those things really enhanced the parties, which is what the purpose of a pop-up is. And so that was a huge change that we also really loved. Mike and Lily are a couple who are ambassadors for Bliss, and they do a bunch of different like kind of classes and stuff, but they had party games a few nights. That's a really awesome event that Bliss does, and the party games just kind of get people talking, get people to hang out, and they do those a couple different nights. So that's a really fun event. They also have a ton of photo ops this year. There's a ton of just different Bliss Cruise signs, as well as just cool backdrops. And so it's a really nice way to kind of get some good photos. I said, maybe they're not as those vanilla photos, but they had some really awesome areas with some really cool backdrops.
With shows and entertainment, they did a really good job. There were times on Bliss Cruise in the past where there weren't any Bliss Cruise specific shows. There weren't any sexy shows, and this one had a lot of sexy shows. There was a show with this acrobatic couple, and they were in Cirque du Soleil, and so, I mean, that says a lot, right? So it was really amazing. It had humor in it too, and then they did all these crazy tricks, and they were such a beautiful couple as well. That one was really cool. They had a fun show called The Boy Band Project, and that was like a mix of Magic Mike and boy band stuff, and that's honestly one of my like core memories. Was at the end of that show, they did a cover of That's What Makes You Beautiful by One Direction, and they were doing covers of other boy bands as well. So that was a really fun show. It was silly and fun. And they had a couple nights of a burlesque show. That was really awesome. There was also a magician who was part of that show. So it was also comedy. There was a comedian that we personally didn't enjoy his comedy set. But we're not like huge comedy people to begin with. But Bliss usually does have a comedian that comes. We think the best comedian on there is Malcolm, who is the cruise director, and he had an opening show and he had a last night show, and so I think that he's like the funniest comedian that's on the show. I always like going to the shows that he's at. There were a couple other little shows that Malcolm was hosting. We didn't go to them. I can't remember them exactly, but there were so many options, and it was done at a really good time as well. So you could go get dinner, and then you can go watch the show, and then from there you could either already be in your theme outfits or get changed into your theme outfits and then head to the pre-party or go to the party. So it was a very nice schedule, a very easy flow.
The only show that they didn't do this time that I actually really enjoyed the last time was the Crazy Quest game show, because it got really wild. But I will say last time it wasn't that busy, so I can see like maybe why they didn't bring it back, but I did enjoy the Quest show the time
But
before.
I think the reason why it wasn't busy was because they did it at such like a weird time. I think that it would be a great show to do as one of the main shows. So instead of like maybe not on the opening night, but instead of having one of the main shows be one of the other ones that I was listing, have that be the show of the night. Like on a vanilla cruise, they'll do the like love and marriage game show as the main show sometimes. I think that the main show being one of those scavenger hunt shows would be so funny. There's audience participation, there's teamwork in it, and so I think it'd be really fun. But maybe people don't want to like be doing something so like intense, I guess, before like as like a show that you're wanting to go relax in. But then if you're going to be participating, like if you're the kind of person who wants to be participating anyway, you're probably going to participate, you know? So like regardless of what time it is. But
yeah, but overall the shows were awesome. I just love that Bliss is bringing in those spicy shows, and so it's not all just like the cruise ship shows. I think it makes a massive difference, and so I hope they continue to do that. The music overall was awesome. There was a ton of really great DJs on this ship. Once again, we love the fact that there was an EDM room, there was a country room, there was the main party, so you kind of had different vibes for music as well. There was kind of a Latin area, there was a live band, the drummer, there was a violinist, there was piano players, just a ton of different live types of music. So if you want to go and kind of sit down and kind of watch something more relaxing, you had that option, but you also had all of those dance areas with just amazing music, amazing sets, and overall we loved the music.
there was a new DJ that we haven't seen before, and her name was DJ Tumbles, and she was my favorite. She is awesome, and I hope that she goes on every future Bliss Cruise. She was playing Taylor Swift. There was Fate of Ophelia playing one of the nights. I think two of the nights. That was hype. That was so fun.
This time, there was 2 different ports that we went to. One was St. Martin, one was Antigua. They were both really nice ports. I personally like when it was 2 ports, and that makes almost like 5 sea days, which I think is really fun because to me, the ports aren't the most exciting part. It's the actual cruise ship itself, all the people.
Unless the port is at a takeover port. Because that
Definitely
makes it, it makes it like lifestyle.
Definitely agree with that. But we're not going to go too much into it. They have all of your typical excursions that you will do at those ports, whether that's swimming with dolphins or going on some excursion. They have all of those. Typically, there is also a kind of spicy or a lifestyle specific excursion.
And then that brings us into the miscellaneous things that we don't know exactly where to put. Like, they don't need their exact own sections. But when it comes to being clothing optional, Bliss is a clothing optional cruise. You can be completely nude in specific areas only when we are 3 miles away from port. So you cannot be topless or nude when we are in port, but when we are like at sea, you are able to be clothing optional in, well, of course, any of the playrooms and then any of the outdoor pool decks, any outdoor deck areas. You are not allowed to be nude when you are walking around in the ship. You can be in very scantily clad. You don't have to have much on, but you do have to have something on whenever you're walking around the ship. And especially when you're in any of the main dining areas, there are towels that they will provide you if you do not have enough covering different parts and bits of your body. This is something I think is really great that they started implementing, and that was pool chair operations. So they had security or like Bliss staff walking around and kind of monitoring the pool lounge chairs. So, sometimes you go on a cruise or you'll go to a resort or something, and then you will see a chair, many lounge chairs that are never in use. And so there isn't anywhere for you to put your stuff. And then those people like never ever come back. So they are doing things to help prevent that from happening and monitoring if it's gone for a certain amount of time that they will open those chairs for other guests, which I think is really great. I know we talked about the app earlier, but we want to even say it again here. The app is a complete game changer, being able to connect with people without having to have a Wi-Fi package and having to exchange phone numbers or social media, and just being able to talk to everyone specifically who are on that cruise, on that ship right then and there, I think is really, really, really amazing. Sometimes you'll even see people on the app that you haven't seen in person yet. And so that's really cool that you're able to have that. And then having the schedule, being able to pick and choose the things that you want to do, having all of the descriptions there, being able to book different things, I think it's really, really incredible. They have also started implementing a Bliss reward loyalty program. So as you start going on more of the Bliss cruises, you're going to get different loyalty status, and that comes with different perks. Some of them is like swag bags. Some of them are name necklaces. When you get to a certain loyalty status, you get invited to a specific like a lunch event. They have different meetups.
And if you have been on Bliss cruises in the past, those are all included. So it's not like when they just started this now, it's your first Bliss cruise. So if you've been on 10 Bliss cruises, you're going to have a really great status. So it's going to include all the Bliss cruises that you've already been on already, plus the ones you go on in the future.
At certain statuses, you even get onboard credit. So, I mean, it's really cool that they're implementing all of these different things. I know we touched on beverages earlier. The beverage package is not included. When it comes to pricing, we never talk about specific pricing because it varies from cruise to cruise. It varies from ship to ship. It varies from sailing to sailing. So if you're wanting to know a specific price and a specific price of the cabin and all the port fees and all of that, we recommend that you go to our website, foreplay.com/cruise. You can find all of the different cruises there, and we have a table that shows the different prices. And it's good to note that prices do increase as it gets closer to sailing. And demographic wise, it is very, very lifestyle based. So if you're wanting that lifestyle experience, not like a specific play experience, but if you're wanting the experience of being in a lifestyle environment, Bliss Cruise definitely is that. A lot of the people that you will meet on Bliss Cruise are people who are in the lifestyle. It definitely is a lifestyle cruise. And lastly, the staff, always, always incredible. And that goes for the celebrity cruise staff and especially the Bliss Cruise staff and volunteers. And everyone is always going above and beyond, trying to make your vacation and your trip as fun and as safe and as comfortable as possible. Everywhere you look, you're going to see someone in a Bliss Cruise t-shirt uniform. And this one was really cool. One of the nights was the Cops and Convicts night, which was last night. They had different shirts. It was like a themed Bliss staff shirt, and that was really cool. I thought it was
almost
a nice
like a
touch.
convict type.
Yeah, it was like they were like a prisoner or something like that. It was really cool.
So in conclusion, it was an amazing trip. Bliss is amazing. And I truly feel like Bliss has been amazing for a very long time, but I feel like all the changes they are implementing are truthfully making the experience that much better. The changes in the parties, the change of having the app, as well as all the other things we talked about make a massive difference. We absolutely love Bliss Cruise. We cannot more highly recommend Bliss Cruise. They're doing 3 a year now. We have one in February, April, and November. So you can book any of those with us, foreplay.com/cruise right here. But overall, it was an incredible trip. I don't have enough amazing things to say about Bliss Cruise. Said there was a few things we would change here and there, but those are nitpicky things that really are not like some big deal things. But overall, absolutely amazing. So thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. Really hope it was able to kind of help make a decision if Bliss was the right decision for you, if it's the right cruise for you. I said, if you guys do want to come with a group in the future and this information helped, we'd really appreciate you book through our links, foreplay.com/cruise, number 4OURPLAY.com/cruise. It doesn't cost you guys any extra to book through our links, but it really helps us out. It helps us to be able to continue to make content like this and help people on their lifestyle journey. And like I said, you get some free little swag, some extra meet and greets and things like that, but we'd love to have you a part of our group. So once again, foreplay.com/cruise. But thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, and we'll go ahead and jump into Bella and Jase's weekly obsessions. You want to go first, or would you like me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, I have two. One actually semi has to do with Bliss Cruise. Not really, but in some sense it does. So it's spicy sour Doritos. So before we got on Bliss Cruise, we went to a Publix, which is like a grocery store in Florida. And I saw this bag. It was like the clearance section. It was this goldish bag of Doritos. I love different flavored chips from different countries. Whenever we were like nomadic for a year, one of my favorite things to do in every new country was try different chips that have different flavors. And I do not remember exactly where these chips were from. I know it was somewhere kind of in the Middle East-ish area, but it was a spicy sour Dorito flavor. And I don't know exactly how to describe it. The closest flavor to these is actually almost what do you call those purple ones?
I thought it was sweet chili.
Yeah, the
right?
sweet chili. It kind of tastes like that.
But better.
And there was more of like a sour undertone to it, but it had that sweetness. It was a little bit spicy too. I don't know. It was just so good. They were one of my favorite chips I think I've ever had literally in my entire life.
They were really good. Highly recommend.
So
I don't know where you can get them, but highly recommend if
Me
you
either.
ever see it.
If you ever see them, get them because they were so good. My other one is this music artist named Young Miko. She's like a reggaeton artist, and so I found out about her because she was opening for Billie Eilish, and so I started like watching her stuff and listening to her music. I love her music. Likey Likey is my favorite song by her, but there's just something about her. I absolutely love Young Miko. She's so cute. I love her tattoos. I don't know, just everything about her vibe, her aesthetic, I just love. And so that's my other obsession. What about you?
My obsession, my first one is Wicked for Good. Wicked for Good, or Wicked Part 2, came out, and I have seen it 3 times in theaters, and I have cried every single time. The last time that I watched it was in IMAX, and that was one of the most incredible cinematic experiences I've ever had. And I know that it's not like Wicked is like the most incredible movie ever, I think, to most people. I know that I do have nostalgic ties to it, and I've loved the musical ever since I was little. And I know that has a lot to play into it. And also Ariana Grande is one of my favorite musical artists and actresses ever, literally since I was like a teenager. So her being able to play this part that she's wanted for so long, I just think that there's just like so much that goes into it that makes me so emotional, and just the story is so good. And if I think about it too much, I'm gonna cry again. Oh my gosh, in the very last scene, the last frame, oh my gosh, I'm literally tearing up. But so yeah, Wicked for Good is my first obsession. And then my second obsession is a music artist. Her name is Adele. And so I watched her. She was on the Dream Academy show whenever Cat's Eye was getting created. And she wasn't in the final lineup, and I'm so glad that she's not in the final lineup, because that girl deserves to be an individual artist. Like, she is a fucking star. Holy shit. She's like Lady Gaga meets like ultimate weird cool girl. Like, I don't know what artist she's like similar to in the sense of that, but she's a ballerina as well, so her dancing is like Tate McRae level, but very different because she does ballet. And kind of like She's just incredible. If you're going to look into Adele, don't listen to just her music first. Like, watch Sex on the Beat music video, and then you're gonna fall in love with her. She's so cool.
Yeah.
She's so cool
It's
and so talented.
and so talented and just so, I don't know.
Sexy.
She is so sexy. It's like one of the sexiest music videos I've ever seen in my entire life. But she's just like, I don't know how to describe it exactly. You know, people like command an area. Like, it's just like, I feel like you're so drawn to her.
Yeah, her
and
aura is insane.
Yeah, like, she's just incredibly talented. But Sex on the Beat, I think, is one of like my favorite music videos, at least from this year, if not ever. I love that music video. It's so cool.
It's very artsy. Like, if you're into, like, it reminds me of an A24 film, but in a music video. Kind of reminds me of like Mia Goth a little bit. Just like that weird, cool, kind of crazy, sexy. It's just awesome. That is my weekly obsession. So let me try to do the outro.
Okay.
So thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. Oh shoot, now I'm gonna get mixed up with our YouTube one. Okay, you do it.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this podcast. We really appreciate it. And we'll hit you guys with the outro.
Oh, it was just that.
Yep.
I was gonna say leave a like and comment and subscribe, but okay, so I could have done it.
All right, try again.
Yeah, let me try one more time. So thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope that this helped you figure out if you want to go on a future Bliss cruise.
You do want to. The answer is yes, you want
Yeah,
to.
you want to, and you want to come with us so we can be friends. And thank you guys so much, and we will see you in the next one.
Hit you with the outro.
We'll hit you with the outro. Bye.
If you'd like to support the show, you can leave us a 5-star review wherever you're listening to our podcast. All our information will be listed in the show notes below and on our website, fourplay.com. That's number 4, OURPLAY.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we make videos and vlogs about the swinging lifestyle. Head to fourplay.com/YouTube to watch and subscribe. We have the ultimate adult party game for the sexually inclined called Foreplay the Game that's both digital and physical. It's perfect for breaking the ice and spicing up any party. You can find more information at foreplay.com/games. We also have the best swinger lifestyle, kinky, and adult humor clothing and accessories that you can find at foreplay.com/shop. If you're looking to plan a lifestyle destination, booking through our links at foreplay.com/travel really helps support the show and helps us be able to continue to create this type of content for you. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Twitch, and more. You can find all our current social media accounts at foreplay.com/socials, and I have an OnlyFans, which you can find at onlyfans.com/BellaLunaVIP. We also have a Facebook group and Discord community and would love for you to join us. You can find the direct links in the show notes below. Lastly, we're on STC and Cassidy at Foreplay, and you can get a free full membership trial by using our link. You can email us at hello@foreplay.com with any questions or comments, or head to foreplay.com/ask. Again, all our information will be listed in the show notes below, and we thank you so much for listening to our podcast. See you in the next one. Bye!